The Witcher 3 isn't just a sequel to The Witcher 2, it's really a sequel to the novels on which the games are based. Yet Geralt and Yennefer's stories were practically concluded, only Ciri still had a destiny calling on her. The games want to pick up that plot and bring back Geralt, which begs the question, why? Why him? It's one the last two games didn't quite have an answer to, but then they were missing Geralt's most important relationships, his bond with Yennefer and Ciri. Yennefer's surprise reintroduction puts Geralt in the back foot, and makes for quite the contrast with his idealised vision of her from his dream, which tells us a bit about how strongly Geralt feels about her. But she's here on behalf of Emperor Emir Varembris, ruler of Nilfgaard. And just take a second and acknowledge that the Emperor's nickname, the White Flame who dances on the graves of his foes, is one badass fucking title. At Vizima, the capital of Temeria, and where Emir has established himself, Geralt was made out of place. This is a nice little show of power from Emir before we even meet him. He has our heroes scrubbed and dressed up like a doll and shown how to bow. It makes clear who is in charge here. And we meet Emir not in the throne room of former King Foltest, but in a back room, establishing two things. Emir is a ruler of cunning who operates behind the scenes, and secondly, he's not yet truly ruling in Temeria. The ghost of its former king looms over them, and Emir's position here isn't really secure. Geralt and Emir are at odds. Ciri is Emir's daughter by blood, and this isn't even the most important bloodline to which she belongs, and he wants her back. His time is coming to an end, and with no heir, his life's work, the Empire of Nilfgaard, risks falling into ruin. His intentions towards Ciri, much like in the books, are self-interested. A contrast with Geralt, whose love for her is explicitly sincere. He accepts the offer, but makes clear he doesn't care about money. Before he leaves, Geralt finally has a moment to catch up with Yennefer. They're both on the same page, their parental instincts in full swing. Their daughter is in danger and nothing else matters now. For all the bickering we see between them, their dedication to Ciri is never in question. And this is it. This is why Geralt and Yennefer get to be main characters in this story. One of The Witcher 3 Wild Hunt's core themes is parenthood, and specifically adoptive parenthood. There are many parents in The Witcher 3, but many, like Emir, are deeply questionable in their worthiness as blood relatives. This fantasy game about monsters and interdimensional elves will ultimately amount to a tale about non-conventional families. For now, the two must split up again to begin their search, with Geralt off to meet one of the Emperor's spies in Velen. Velen, otherwise known as No Man's Land. This northern province of Temeria lies at the border to Redania, where King Radovid's forces hold the line against the invading empire from the south, and it's here where the most recent battle of the war is taking place. The Witcher 3 does something pretty unconventional for the fantasy genre when it comes to war. You don't see it. The huge battles, clashes of armies, been and gone. Witcher 3 isn't interested in spectacular battles of hundreds of soldiers. Instead, its concern is primarily with the aftermath, the cost and toll of war.
See, I did some research, and it turns out living in medieval times was, well, that's right, fucking awful.
And while The Witcher 3 is not a historical game in any sense, it does draw on aspects of medieval life. Misunderstandings about hygiene and health abound, the quality of living is pretty poor. And when you throw a big bloody war into that mix? As we roam Velen, we come across the remains of many battlefields, brush shoulders with refugees fleeing north, and everywhere you go here, the quest can almost always be traced back to the war. A Witcher might deal with the supernatural threats, but the game uses monsters as a manifestation of human ills. Ghouls and rotfiends only run amok because of the huge numbers of dead left rotting. Griffins and trolls are only drawn out of their nests by marching armies. The battles between these armies don't exist in a vacuum, they wound the land. And guess what? That wound is now infected and there's fucking pus everywhere. At the end of the crossroads, Geralt, seeking the Emperor's spy, encounters a bunch of brigands working for the local baron, running amok and, as we later learn, with the blessing of Nilfgaard. Monsters aren't the only danger right here. Geralt eventually finds the Emperor's spy at the village of Heatherton. The Wild Hunt got here first, leaving only one survivor in their wake. He speaks of the terror and the torture inflicted upon them. You take away the supernatural flourishes, and this doesn't seem all too different from the other atrocities we've seen in this no man's land. There's an important quest in Velen, a tower full of mice. It's one of the game's most miserable, and while we only show up after the fact, the tale it tells is horrifying. Plague, a village worth of people dead, a family murdered, and the daughter paralysed and eaten alive by rats. The Witcher 3 doesn't get much grimmer than this. And it's not even done. Depending on player choice, either the ghost of Annabelle goes out into the world to sow disease, or her true love Graham dies to lift the curse. But all that misery? None of it happens without the war, which caused the famine, which sent the people to the tower seeking food, which led to the slaughter and Annabelle's death. And none of these people have any direct contact with the war. All these lives, all this loss, is entirely collateral damage. How is the attack of a supernatural bunch like the Wild Hunt any different from human soldiers? The innkeep at the crossroads explicitly draws attention to this earlier, mistaking the omen of their arrival as the fires from a raiding Nilfgaardian party. The Wild Hunt goes unnoticed in Velen, not because they're so cunning or stealthy. No, they announce their arrival with an unnatural frost, wearing the armour of the dead and lighting fire to everything they leave behind, leaving no survivors. The reason they've gone unnoticed, despite this, is because when it comes to genocidal interdimensional elves and the armies of humans, there's not much difference.